Hey, hey, Shalom Akim. Shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders, the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect. New in the gospel, bro. Lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. Hey, man, real quick, this is a video. My spirit hopped on me to do it. I was watching Elder Apostle Ramlaw's video about the real test is at hand, and he made a comment. Spirit immediately hopped on me to kind of go in on it, because he brought out a scripture in Exodus when it goes into how you have the servants that had the wife that was given through the slave owner, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? And you had a choice on whether to leave or to stay there and serve the slave master, and keep the wife. It was in a law that your slave master can promise you a wife or give a wife to you under his bondagement. And it dawned on me because he made a comment, and I've made this comment, a few times within the last couple of weeks, within the last month, and I echo it every now and then about Jacob's trouble is going to be a very emotional and traumatic experience. And for brothers, because for one thing, through human psyche and reasoning, you have to adapt to situations, man. When you're thrust into a hostile environment, you learn to adapt. You learn certain movements. You learn to think a certain way, and by us coming into what they would consider a post-apocalyptic world, when things are on the verge of breaking down, society and kingdoms are on the verge of collapsing, you're going to have anarchy out here. But also, furthermore, you're going to have those divisions among the family members. And this is the spirit that I went into that earlier, that, your wife and your kid, they may take the MOTB or the jab. You know what I'm saying? And you may have to walk away from that. Your wife and kid may get put in a concentration camp, but you're going to have to still be thou faithful unto death. Like the scripture saying, I would give thee a crown of life. You see what I'm saying? So these things are very possible and plausible in our lives in the coming short weeks and months, because the CDC, they just basically lifted the moratorium for eviction. So therefore, hey, you can get evicted now. So if you ain't been working, you ain't got no money saved up, or however they mandate this thing, they can kick you out in the middle of a pandemic. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to cause a lot of people to lose faith and to not know where to go. So with that being said, brothers, man, hey, we got to prepare our minds, which is our spirits, prepare our bodies, whatever we need to do in order to be able to withstand this time, because it's going to be very, very emotional. You might go a day or two without seeing your babies eat, and they may be frantic. You know what I'm saying? It's going to bother your spirit because you don't want to see the ones you care about suffer. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it boils down to. You don't want to see your wife or your children or somebody that you may be close with, maybe a dear brother you may be living with or whatever. You may have close reports with people in the world. You know what I'm saying? We ain't built, really to see people get off like that, because we've never been in a hostile environment like that. Now, if we were somewhere in Beirut or, over there in Tibet or over there in Afghanistan, Iraq, when those innocent villages get bombed by Esau, Edom, then that's a different story, because that's a natural cultural thing through schisms of war. But on this side, man, we've lived in peace for the most part. We've lived kind of luxurious, even though our situations is not all that great, but it's not the most deplorable either. So with that being said, man, we're getting ready to be introduced into a lot of things that's going to kind of shake your mind like, oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? And you might have to lose your wife. You might have to lose your kids, man. And that's another thing. You got to count the cost. Apostles and them always say, look, you got to count the cost, man. Count the cost, because, hey, you got to know what you're involved in. Count the cost. All right? So, anyway, it's like I got some in my teeth. But anyway, this is the book of 1 Corinthians 7 and 30. Matter of fact, let's start at verses 29. It says, but this I say, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none. And that scripture alone, when you bring that up to a woman and you have to live and embody that precept, a lot of times a woman ain't going to understand it. She's going to think you're neglecting her. She's going to think that you don't have interest. You lost faith. She's gonna think that you don't want to have anything to do with it. She's not attractive, but she don't understand that your mindset is being prepared to deal with what's getting ready to come. Because women's mindset are not like men. They're not armed with the spiritual grafting that we have as men of the Lord. You understand? And that's another thing that can be very offensive to your flesh, because if a woman get enough of that, she'll leave you. You know what I'm saying? And oftentimes neglect and turn into adultery, because in her mindset, you're neglecting her. You know what I'm saying? Or feds come knocking at the door. Her mindset, you mistreated her. You abused her. You know what I'm saying? And having to go through that. And it says here, and they that weep as though they wept not, and they that rejoice as though they rejoice not, and they that buy as though they possess not. Okay, so we're coming to the time that we're getting ready to have to give everything up, because it's just a matter of time before all these things are mandated in all these states, because now they're starting with the city workers, the state workers, the federal workers. You know, like in Florida, I believe that all city workers have to get Vanessa by September 30th, or they have to undergo testing and wear, you know, the N95, you know what, the face coverings. They have to wear those things. You know what I'm saying? It's going to get to a point that religious exemptions, that's not going to hold anymore. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be able to hold out on getting Vanessa. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to go down there and get it. They're not going to play, because the Most High is pretty much making the distinction between those who serve him and those that do not. So those that serve the Most High, Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai, okay, is going to be known that who is the true follower of the Lord, because of the different tests that we're going to get put through in this time. So we got to arm our minds, man. Okay, and it says, and they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passeth away. So the time of abusing the world, we won't have that luxury anymore, where we can sift in and out of the matrix and get our daily bread, or, you know, get the money or the daily bread, or, you know, indulge in some of the fleshly activities. It's coming to the time that we're just going to be pilgrims, that we're going to be living probably house to house. You know, we're probably going to be in the woods. We're probably going to be walking the streets. You know what I'm saying? And some brothers are going to get locked up and detained. You know, but it's all a test, man, because guess what? To lose this world is to gain Hamashiach. Okay, and losing this world sometimes means walking away from everything that meant something to you. Walking away from your wife, you know, your kids, etc. You know, certain family members. And to be honest with you, man, walking away from material things, really, it feels a lot great, because now you don't have any type of obligation that's bound to sustain these things. Once you leave these things behind, you don't have to work so hard to keep them sustained, because it's just like, okay, you know, it's just you now. So all the nice cars and jewelry and clothes and shoes and raiment and all that stuff, man, is after a while, that stuff is going to be non-effect to you. You ain't even going to worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Say them Jordans or whatever for somebody that end up stumbling across your crib that may need some shoes or something, or, you know, give them shits away or whatever. You know, but we have to start thinking for the end of this kingdom. And it says here, but I will have you to know, have you without carefulness, he that is unmarried careth for the things that belong unto the Lord, how he may please the Lord. Okay, so yeah, when you ain't married, you can focus more on this truth. When you ain't living under the same domain as a woman, you can focus on this truth, because when you have a woman, it reads, it says here, but he that is married careth for the things of the world, how he may please his wife. Okay, so that's the point I want to make. When you married and you have attachments, you have to indulge in fleshly things. You have to have sex with your wife. Scriptures say, give your woman due benevolence, man. You have to deal with her when she wants the sex. You know what I'm saying? If you able-body to give her, you have to give it to her. You know what I'm saying? Vice versa. She has to give you the, you know, your dig whenever you want it. Right? You got those marriages that go under because the wife, they stop having sex with their men. And then they men go off and deal with other women, you know. But that's just not ethically correct, because women, you're supposed to give yourself to your man, you know. You're not supposed to have those that, well, I ain't trying to sleep with you. I ain't trying to do this or that. You know what I'm saying? You know you acting funny with the box. We ain't having sex tonight. Well, you know what? You ain't no wife of mine. You got to get out. Now, I mean, there is exception to the rule. You know, you taking in mind that she may be tired from work. You know, she could be sick, or her body just ain't really giving off the vibe it needs to give. I mean, you know, it's give or take. You know, she's really broken down and sick and tired, and, you know, you don't want to force yourself on them. But overall, if she's able-bodied and she's just trying to be a proud tyrant, you know, trying to hold some leverage over you, that ain't cool. But nonetheless, man, when you have attachments to this world, it becomes more emotional. You know what I'm saying? That's why, brothers, we got to be strong. and keep our faith in the Lord. But anyway, I'm going to end it there, giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. And with that, Shalom and Baba Ball.